What's up? Got the headband on for Caruso. Obviously, Lakers moving on to the conference finals today. We got the purple lights on, celebrating when we can. Feeling more and more like a YouTuber with every video I put out on this channel. Um, Shout out to the Glassell Park boys. Obviously, we don't get to play nowadays because LA decided to take out all the rims on every single court, and we probably don't want to catch Corona. So, there's that. And pretty sure, I don't know about you guys, but all I've been doing is rewatching our videos to try to feel something, anything, on our highlights. So what better thing to do in this time than to analyze them? Let's get straight to it. So this first clip right here is a study on both Kuba's use as a pick and roll ball handler and Armin's potential as the screener. I always joke Armin's 6'4" because he should be, and how he should be getting all the rebounds, but he doesn't. But we'll get to that in a minute. But he's got such a large frame that it makes it hard for literally anyone to get around him on these screens. So look at how the normally agile Arin has such a hard time getting through that. Now, if you look closer at Kuba in this play, you can clearly see that he gets the most space on any screen action. We're not really good at defending pick and rolls whatsoever. No one really knows how to move around a screen, and the person defending the screener doesn't know how to defend the screener either. In this case, it's Juju. It's not a knock on Juju, that's a knock on all of us. But if you look closely, the space Cooper gets off a screen than just getting in a normal ISO is a lot wider. So Cooper's got all the space to make any decision he wants. We'll get to Cooper's decision making soon, but with all that space, Cooper can knock down the easy jumper. In that case, if Kuba's on your team, set him a screen, instant success. Either way, you get someone to score. So we've actually got a Ronnie clip already. Both a Ronnie and Juju clip in this case. Juju's pretty underrated in the way you can get him to handle the ball. He's not a dribbler or anything, doesn't really have handles necessarily. But if you have him in situations like this where you got him posted up, where you can both have vision of the play that's happening, he does have some good decision making a good amount of times. So if you have him in this action, with a lot of off-ball movement, you can have some success. In this case, you've got Jonathan kind of falling asleep on that slip play right there. Ronnie finds a way, and this is where Ronnie's kind of at his best. Ronnie is obviously a shooter. We don't really have him handling the ball much in any ISO situations. We want him going off these slip actions or some screens, because this is when he gets to set his feet and have the most space possible. He's got a bit of a moonshot, so in theory he should be able to shoot over people, but he seems to have a lot better chance of making the basket when he's all by himself. Alright, so the next play is both a Juju and a Arin clip. When you're defending Arin, you literally have to stick to him off ball. The best way to defend Arin is not giving the ball whatsoever. If he has the ball, we've got some examples later, but let's assume he's doing off ball when he's shooting guard, not the primary ball handler, which is where he's at his best. If you're not sticking to him, if you give him like 6 feet, 5 feet honestly, or above that, it's game over. In this clip you can clearly see that here. But what I really want to focus on here is Juju. If you look at Juju here, he's one of the few players, I want to say him, Jimmy, Jimmy and Arin, I'd say, who are pretty active at doing this constantly. And this is cutting to the inside along the baseline to either get possession for a rebound or just open for a pass. In this case, it's not open for a pass because Jonathan's playing him fairly well, but he gets in really good, decent positioning here. If you learn some box-out techniques, you get a lot of boards. If you look at the stats when we played that one time when we were collecting stats, his rebounding numbers pop off compared to any of the other stats because he's always seems to be in the right place at the right time, and that's because of his activeness and his action off the ball. So in this one, Arin is a decent playmaker when he has both space and momentum. But in this case, if you can get Arin into a standstill, you gotta kind of look at his eyes, which is what I'm doing here. He likes to try to sneak passes against you, but if you've got your arms at least above your waist, you're able to swipe at the ball as it goes. He likes to do this one-hand flick motion a lot. So if you're able to see kind of where that trajectory's going, you've got a good shot at stopping that. Hoping I'm speaking clearly enough. It's around 1 a.m., so I don't know if my voice is too groggy for this. Back right here, this is part one of many of John and Kuba pick and roll actions. In this case, Kuba's the screener. There's also a study in Jonathan's off-ball movement where probably his second most effective way to score or just affect the game right here. So Kuba and I like to set screens a lot for each other because we know we can find each other. In terms of ball handlers among the group, I'd say me, Kuba, and Armon are pretty good at being that pick and roll ball handler. So if any of us on your team, if you're constantly moving or setting a screens, you can get open for a pass or a shot there. But this is more of a credit to Jonathan. This time he finds Ronnie sleeping, the opposite of what happened earlier. So if you look here, when Jonathan makes this cut right here, I'm constantly looking for him when he's on my team. So if I see any off-ball movement at all, there he gets good positioning. He's able to seal with his body. Ronnie's using his voice, his defense, like he likes to do a lot. Works not that many times, but likes to do that. So this next case, this is this is the start of the study on Kuba's pick and roll offense as the ball handler. What it seems like a lot when he's the pick and roll ball handler is he likes to make his decision beforehand a lot. This is what Lonzo Ball did when he was a rookie as a Laker. It seemed like he kind of knew what he wanted to do, so he didn't really have a improvised option if one option failed. In this case, he either knows he's going to pass or he knows he's going to go for the score here. So in this case, he knows he's going to pass to me. And he likes to do that behind the back pass a lot. I mean, it works, so can't really be mad at it. In this case, this is one of the first studies of my game. This is kind of tips on when you're guarding me. So I like to play around with the fakes. I'm not the most athletic guy, so I won't really beat you on speed necessarily, but I'll try to beat you on a lot of fakes and some pump fakes. Here, Juju's very far away, so I could technically pull up. But instead what I'll do is I know if you're guarding me for the first time, you might bite on it, so which Juju does here. So if I could get him out of position, I can get a closer shot, which is exactly what I do. If you bite on my pump fake, it opens up either a lane for me to maybe score or find someone else. So as much as you can, you really want to stay on your feet. And if you want success, just set a screen for Kuba. Easy money. So this is where I think Jonathan is most effective on the court. And this is when he's off the catch in a triple threat position where you can both either dribble, shoot, or pass. I always, not really joke, I always say to the group that if Jonathan learned a pump fake 1-2 pull up, it's over. 20 points a game right there. Just keep feeding him. So Jonathan's quick first step is a bit underrated, especially when he's like, I'm not going to say weaker, but less agile defenders are on him. In this case, Ronnie, when he's not in defensive stance, which is, I mean, a lot of us don't do it. If we got into defensive stance, we'd have longer games because we'd actually play defense, but we don't here. And having that first step like Jonathan does is pretty killer. So he gets his right foot in front of Ronnie very quickly and just kind of gets the score to go. Quick layup off the foot too, so Juju doesn't have a chance there to kind of recuperate and get some help defense. And it's an easy layup right there. This next one is how to not play defense on Arine, or 67% how not to play defense. You always wanna force Arine left if he puts the ball down in front of you because he likes to dribble with his right a lot, so a quick swipe will easily get that ball out of the way. I don't do any of that. In fact, I'm kind of lost in where I am on the court, which is why I'm not able to stop it. As much as you can, you want to try to stay in front of both Kuba and Arine. It's probably your best bet in trying to defend them. In this case, I really just let it slide. I look like I'm trying to play defense, but in reality, like, there's so many times there where I could have stopped him, but just didn't go down because it was like Matador defense. Just let him through, which is not what you want to do. You want to prevent them getting anywhere close to the basket. You really want to stop the ball when it's in mid dribble, or you want to swipe at them when they're at their lowest point. Arine likes to scoop layup a lot, and he likes to start his shot right at his chest. So you can get a hand up, high success rate, but if they beat you, it's kind of over. So that's a Juju flop right there. In this case, another pick and roll series. Kuba kind of knew, I think he wanted to pass to me because we had good positioning on the pick and roll. Again, patented behind the back pass. If you see how I rolled there, this is what if you're doing any screen action, this is what you want to do. You want to immediately open up towards the ball right there, so you're always aware and able to get that pass. And again, set a screen for Kuba. If he finds you in an open lane and you find the open lane yourself, It's a bucket. This is just like a guy who's played basketball versus a guy with less experience, knowing that quick fake pass gets Armin out of the way, easy scoop layup there. It's a lot of playing with the momentum that you'll see throughout the video. I give Armin a lot of shit for not getting rebounds, because if he did, I think he'd be a lot more effective. And in this case, this here's one of them. Armin's tall as hell, so if he gets a rebound, he keeps the ball over his head or has a clear lane. If someone's at the three-point line, he can clear it out immediately and find them. This is one of those advantages that Dex likes to do a lot. Dex doesn't normally find people, but again, he uses height to his advantage, which is what I kind of want to see Armin do. And this is how not to guard Armin number 2. At all times, when you miss, you want to find Armin immediately if you're his assignment, because again, any space is killer right there. I'm too slow to recover. Armin found him very quickly, and boom, it was over. If Armin masters that, just getting in position and finding someone immediately, that just has to do with knowing where your teammates are on the court. In this case, this is an absolute study on Dex and the shack that he is in our little Clash of League that we have going on. Dex is really good at sealing his position. He's got probably the strongest base out of all of us. So here he seals Armin, which he's did throughout this entire game. Just keeping out of the paint. We'll get into that deeper a little bit later, but this is just an excellent example of how Dex is able to secure so many rebounds and leads us in rebounds. It's just him sealing off. This is what I kind of want. This is Armin. If you're watching this, look at Dex's tape a lot. You easily have just as strong of a base if you use it correctly. That here Dex is staying low, keeping his center of balance low. And if you did that, you can use your frame as your tools to keep someone out of the paint there. So this is an example of good help defense on Kuba. A lot of times Kuba will get past you. I mean, don't feel bad. He's just really good at it. It's part of his game. But the Jonathan does a great job of positioning himself close enough to Kuba to where he can get either Kuba to kind of flinch a bit or get a deflection on the ball. Jonathan's really good at getting a hand on the ball in these situations, so if you're helping on defense, this is a good thing to follow. Jonathan stays vertical, gets a little tip on the ball, and if we were able to rebound as a team, that would be our ball, but they get the offensive rebound after this clip. So yeah, this is another Kuba Armin pick and roll. Again, Armin using his frame to his advantage. He gets Dex off of Kuba, which technically Kuba could get on his own, but in a 4v4, you want to give your teammates as much space as possible, which Armin's able to do here. So if you look closely, Kuba uses Armin's screen pretty perfectly, and Kuba's able to rise up over me. If I did what Jonathan did earlier, I could cut it off, give him a little bit less space. It's all about making Kuba uncomfortable in his driving lanes, because once he gets it, it's over. And again, look at Armin right here. He does such a good job of setting screens. It's all about us using them. And a little bit of back to the footage of me earlier. If Armin just rolls hard or pops out, it's an open shot for him. If he became more of a threat outside, which we'll go into later, it'd be a deadly pick and pop game. And again, it's all about knowing where to go after a screen. What kills Armin a little bit is when he sets a screen, he likes to stop, which doesn't really help anyone whatsoever, himself or the team. So that screen's a good job right there. Kuba's just able to create off the dribble. Jonathan does his best at trying to stop him, but Kuba, I mean, let's look at that move. So it was a very bang call. It technically should be a travel because after the hop step he does a 1-2. General rule is after hop step it should be a plant, because that hop is 1 step, and if you do 2 steps after the hop, that's 3, that's a travel. But I mean, we're not really too focused on that. So yeah, here Dex is already in good position, and like I said, if he had just a little pump fake, that's just 1 arm scoop right there. Use the glass. So this right here we call a moving screen. We call that incorrect. This is just Dex being Shaq again. He's just such a powerful base, and if you're not set and trying to stop him, he'll move you out of the way if you're not low to the ground. If he was doing this to Kuba, who was guarding me in this case, then it would be moving screen because you're not allowed to do that. But this is just sealing yourself. This is using your base and sealing your position, like what you see Embiid and Jokic do a lot when they're posting up. But yeah, Dex is strong as hell, man. Yeah, so this again is just another study in Ronnie. Ronnie's really good off ball as a shooter, if he's moving off a screen or just open for a standstill. When he doesn't hesitate, I think that's when he has his best chance of making his 3-point shots. But when you just catch and shoot, it's pretty automatic. If you look at this, he has good form, he has a high arcing shot, and he makes it there. Like, if he's on your team, you really want him spotting up or moving off screen. So if you're on his team, set up an off-ball screen, or if you're the ball handler, know where he is at all times, because that's super helpful. So yeah, so this is Kuba as a passer, where if he had a better improv game, he would be deadly and unguardable. So we're kind of glad he doesn't. But Kuba has good vision of the court. It's just more of when is he willing to pass. In this case, he knows Arian's cutting, so he does a good job of finding him here. Again, he has really good grip, he has a good length, so he's able to get this one-handed dot like over all of us. So that's just an example of a fake handoff right there. This is Armin getting lost right there because there's really lack of communication here. Initially, Armin's guarding me here, and Armin goes for the switch, but he decides to bail last second because he thinks Armin's in good position. But there's technically 3 of them on me here, and I get rid of 2 of them, and Armin's out of position. So what you want to do here is you just want to talk, basically, and that could have prevented this whole play from happening, and like this Jimmy Butler moment right here. But again, Armin's tall enough. If Armin just stayed there, probably better success. He cut me. If Armin had stayed in front of me, he's cut me off from seeing anything there, and I'd have to reset, kick it out to Jonathan probably. But this is just an open shot. So I forgot to mention this play. This play right here, going back to this little snippet that I thought was a mistake, but really not. If you look at our positioning on the floor here, we're all cramped up on one side, which is like the opposite of what we want. After this, I really don't have any options, or the ball handler doesn't have any options of finding anyone for help if we're all on the same side. So we really shrink the floor to half of what it could be. If someone's positioned on that other side right there, that could be a kick out if they decide to collapse on the ball handler. So in this last play right here, there's a few things to scout out right here. So Kuba, this is just knowing who's on the play right now. Kuba's stayed on decks for a good amount here, trying to stop some offensive rebounds. So luckily, he's one of the better perimeter defenders, so he's out of the play, so it gives us an option. In this case, Armin switched off to Jonathan. And this is kind of hunting a little bit, but this is also just a good heads-up play from Jonathan. So here I got the handoff from Ronnie. So this is a better job of spacing out the floor, unlike we did in the last play. When you space out the floor like this, Ronnie has a better chance of getting a pass as an open shooter and just giving us more room to operate. Jonathan gives a nice screen, solid screen right here, getting Armin off of me and switching on to Armin. This blunder happened earlier too, where there was just no communication. Armin attempts to switch over. In this case, he does a good job of blocking me, but Jonathan just does a better job of finding the open area, which is what you want to do as a screener. When you're setting a screen, you want to know where you're going to go after. If it's a roll or if it's a pop, it will be open, assuming the 2 defenders don't talk. So this is exactly what happens here. Jonathan's in great position, Dex is attracting attention, and Jonathan also just does a really good job of making that shot over Kuba for the game winner right there. Yeah, a good heads-up play from everyone there. Just another example of how not to defend Armin. Yeah, just stay in front of him. So this is another case of Juju right before this play, getting good position to get that rebound, like he always tries to do. Something I think we can all do because it creates open shots for us a lot quickly. Ronnie does a good job of spotting up because this is where he's at his best. So if you find Ronnie, if you see Ronnie open, honestly dish it out to him because you have a better chance of getting a 3 right there, and he just makes the defense pay. This is a series of Kuba cutting when John has the ball. I always try to, if Kuba and I are on the same team, I always try to look for him on off ball because it alleviates him having to create something in a cramped area, and it opens up the lane a lot easier. I didn't mean for this one to be an alley-oop. I just looked at Kuba and I saw the lane and I hoped he cut, and he did. And this is just me finding him. Jonathan does a good job of clearing out the area here, attracting more of the defense with a screen right there. And this is another study of Jonathan being a threat off a catch or off a loose ball. When he has all 3 options, it's a really good chance for him to create his own shot. Here he does the nice one dribble pull up like I always talk about, and makes the defense pay. Solid job there. So Armin misses the shot, but this is when I say Armin has potential as like a Ersan Ilyasova type stretch 5 guy, where if he's able to stretch the floor there, it attracts whoever's guarding him, which is usually one of the bigger players on our teams, out of the paint, and opens up rebounding opportunities here. This time Kuba is in a good position to get the rebound, and if you have If Armin's able to do that, and Armin's able to like be a consistent threat to at least attract defense, and you have someone like Kuba or me or Jimmy or Bovin, or if Dex is on the same team, which hopefully he's not because you don't want Armin and Dex on the same team, it opens up for a higher opportunity even if he does miss, because you have someone who is good at making close range shots right there under the basket. Yeah, so that play was a little bit sloppy, but just another example of, again, Jonathan off the catch. Like, Jonathan off the catch with that first step, getting past Ronnie. So this is, again, Kuba. Kuba as a passer, which if he commits to being able to make on-the-fly decisions. So he leads me with a pass there, which is good because he sees an open lane directing me. That's just me using the fakes again to get Dex out of the way. And it opens up lanes for him too, because people will be looking for his passes, which will clear his lane more. So when Kuba mixes it up and he's on your team, just off-ball cuts and screens, and you get a dub. Again, when Ronnie doesn't think and he just shoots, money. That clip's just in there for disrespect. That's just me knowing Arin will eventually cut and slicing through the defense. Again, showing the strength of off-ball cuts. If we decided to move more as a team, we get open shots. And again, that's just Jonathan off the dribble. Again, when he has that option as a dribble, he can find offense for himself. He doesn't just have to be a standalone shooter. It's a lot of, if you look at a lot of Danny Green tape, he does that a lot, where he's able to hit you with a pump fake, dribble in once or twice, and you get a more open shot, which would really unlock Jonathan's game right there. So yeah, this is a case where I finally see someone else hit you with a pump fake. Arin likes to do this quick one. When he has such a quick release, it's really to his advantage, and it gets the lane open for him. Here he knows that the floor is spaced out, no one's in front. So a little quick pump fake to get Jonathan out of the way, and he's pretty much home free. Once he gets past you, it's over. So Jonathan misses the shot here, but this is Armin's use as a high post player right here. When you get Armin on the key, if he's more of a threat, you get more people attached to him, but this is him able to kind of lull the defense to sleep here. He doesn't necessarily need to be able to dribble, but it's more of making decisions when he's up there, up top. The defense will probably sag off him a little bit, so this is where Armin can find an open shooter, or if you're on Armin's team and you see him up top there, you'll notice whoever's guarding him will sag off. So if you can make an off-ball cut or flare open for a three, if Armin's able to make this pass, it gives you an open opportunity right here. Again, Kuba in the pick and roll, super effective. Set him a screen, you'll reap the benefits. And this is more action as a cutter. Again, if you want to get open shots, run that base or run towards that baseline. A lot of times you'll leave your defender if they're not paying attention. Kuba makes Armon pay in this case, and I find him right there. This is why I like to have Armon coming off of the sidelines rather than a top pick and roll. In this case, I think Armon's much more of a threat. He's able to make stronger line drives to the basket and kind of aim his action a little bit more when he's running these from the sidelines. If you look at him when he dribbles, he's very right dominant. So when he's coming from this side, instead of coming from the top, he's able to see the majority of the court and its openness, versus if he came from the top over there, he's really stuck with one side if you're cutting off the lane for him. So in this case, he uses his dribble to his advantage. He's able to get open shot, get a teardrop there. Again, this is beautiful off-ball movement. Bovin's really good at finding these little cuts at short distances. If he's facing his teammates, as long as Bovin has a clear line of view for you, he'll be able to find you. So if you're with Bovin on your team, give and goes are super effective because that high IQ plays, he'll be able to find you like that. Arin does a fantastic job of not stopping, and it works out. In this case, this is Kuba finding Jimmy. Again, off-ball cuts will destroy any of us. We always fall asleep on defense. So if you hit one of us with an off-ball cut and a decent playmaker has the ball, you've got an open shot right there. So this is what I keep saying, how Kuba ultimately predetermines if he's going to shoot or pass. This is the exact same movement that Jimmy does. Jimmy's wide open right there over the shorter Armon. That's a layup right there. But Kuba's already decided he's going to score. In this case, like I said, Arin actually does try a decent job of trying to cut him off. This is just Kuba being long with his arms. So he just gets that over with a ridiculous reverse shot. That's no fault on Arin right there. That's just better offense. Yeah, and that's just terrible defense. What you want to do again is cut off his lanes like Aryan was trying to do. In this case, I'm sliding with him instead of sliding to prevent him, and that never works out right there. I think the next play is pretty much. Oh no, so this is again why I like having Armon on the sides, because his vision is much better of the entire court. He doesn't have to be fixated on one side. By putting him on those sidelines and towards the baseline, he's able to see who's able to cut, and he's a decent bounce passer. So again, this give and go is beautiful. Don't stop moving like Aryan did, and boom, that's a layup right there. Fantastic pass, fantastic cut. So Kuba likes to do this move a lot, which is why I always say you want to keep a defensive stance when you're in front of him and try to prevent any lane whatsoever. When you're fixated too much on sliding left and right and trying to deny him, he'll take advantage of that sometimes, which is why you just want to try to move with Kuba as much as possible and keep him in front of you. Here he just does a good job of using that Euro step and using that gather to get over Jimmy. So this is Isaiah's first tape where it really shows his ultimate use as a spot up shooter. While I like Jonathan's ability to create off a catch, when I like Jonathan playing off the catch, as a shooter, I think Isaiah's our other shooter, and I like it when he kind of relocates himself rather than creating off the catch. When he relocates himself, a lot of times his defender will fall asleep, and he gets an open shot. This is one of Isaiah's hotspots, I'd say. Anything that's not the corners, where he's able to use the entire rim and backboard to his advantage. You can get some good shots out of Isaiah right here. Anytime he's on that top 3-point arc, it's a really good place for him to spot up. And that's just, again, Isaiah finding the open spot and being able to be a spot up immediately off the catch shot, quick decision maker as part of his arsenal. Here, Aryan's really good. Again, he likes to whip passes off the dribble with one hand. In this case, the floor is super open, so it was just the most logical thing to do. And he finds Isaiah for the open shot right there. So right here, if you look closely, this is Kuba, again, as a playmaker, finding that short roll pass, and again, Aryan being the best cutter out of all of us. Kuba just, again, quick dot to Aryan right there. It's great basketball. And again, this is Isaiah just wide open as hell. For some reason, people like to sag off Isaiah when they're guarding him. If I'm Isaiah, I love that. I want them to keep disrespecting me like that, so I have those open shots, because when he's open on any of those top 3-point spots, just get off the court, because he's gonna make it. So this is, again, the study of how not to defend Kuba. That's a Matador defense right there from Jimmy. And yeah, so Armon has a pretty decent floater off his right side, so if he were to attack off the top, getting him to his open free to his right is what you want to do as a screener. So anytime you're screening for Armon, make sure you're on the left side of the defender to get his right side open, because once Armon's going downhill with his right, it really opens up his offensive abilities, either be able to find someone cutting or have an open floater like this, which is pretty decent at. This reminds you of like a 2-foot Tony Parker floater, which he can use to his advantage a lot. And this is one of like those moves that Armon has. Armon seems to be really good at his predetermined set moves. If he gets to his spot, it's pretty money. Armon's not the most mobile guy in terms of being an off-ball cutter, so I would say his best way to play off-ball is similar to how Isaiah does it, in finding open spots as a spot-up shooter. Armon's not necessarily a spot-up shooter, but if he finds openings, he's able to get to his move more quickly and efficiently, and that was a good example of it right there. So this is more of an in-depth move of the cut, or not the cut, but the jab step Kuba had here. If you look closely at Kuba's feet, he's able to seal with his right leg, which is what you want to do when you're attacking off the dribble. So as long as you can seal with your right leg there and get whatever leg that's opposite of the hand that the ball is in front of the defender, you can get an open shot like he does right here. So yeah, this is a clip for Juju and Bobbin. Again, Bobbin's really good at finding cutters, so if you're moving, Bobbin can find you. Juju is really good in this little paint area right here at having his little hooks. So when Juju cuts and you're on his team, and you see him cutting, you want to be able to set him up on this little right block here because again he's much stronger off his right hand, and if he has any decent space, the hook really separates him from the defense there. And this is a little offshoot. This is Kuba, not Kuba. This is a little offshoot right here of Juju being effective in the painted area right here. So we all know, in this case, in this clip, he has a threat of being a cut and having that hook shot right there. This here, he lulls us to sleep and finds Bobbin beautifully. Juju has a little bit of potential right here as a playmaker off these certain cuts. It doesn't. It's not necessarily like a Kuba type deal where he's able to break you down or break the defender down, but when he's able to make a strong cut to the basket and make it seem like he's going for the shot, he's able to fake the defense out. He does a really good job of finding Bobbin there, and that's just good basketball. So that's another case right there of Juju being able to play make out of a post position or a deep sealed paint position. Here he hands it off right to Arjen right here, and that again, that's just a really good find by Juju right there. If you're able to get action like that, or if you see Juju in the paint and he doesn't have an open shot necessarily, just make a cut and he'll be able to hand it off to you right there. And again, if Juju has position down low enough and he has a vision, a straight line vision, or knows where you are, he will find you, and Bobbin reaps the benefits right there. So this is another case of when I said earlier how it's pretty much Jimmy, Juju, and Arjen do a really good job of this in fighting for position for a rebound. You want to be able to seal off. So if you're off ball and like one of the rather like streaky shooters who aren't necessarily shooters like me, go for a shot, you want to always find a way to get an offensive rebound. And again, this is like a little bit of Jimmy's football background. A lot of times he'll use a swim move where he uses his arm to get around you to make himself thinner and have a better lane to get a rebound right there. And Juju does a similar thing. He doesn't use the entire swim move, but he likes to duck down and make himself thinner to get around you. And Arjen is always just constantly moving, so he's just always in good position. But this would, if like people like Dex or Armin use this and use their frame to seal off position, that's an offensive rebound and immediately bucket for the tip back right there. And that's pretty much it for the footage we have here. I try to keep it as objective as possible in terms of trying to get a, well, I mean, not necessarily a good balance of everyone because obviously more people had more dominant footage than others, but just a good showing of what most of us normally do on the court and what we can do to maximize that. Hopefully we can play soon eventually and use these to our advantage. I still fully intend on locking up Armon, so I won't be on his team or setting him any screens whatsoever, but again, I've been watching this footage, so hopefully I can lock him down. But yeah, hopefully this is of some benefit or entertainment to you guys. Hopefully we can play soon, and until next time, I guess that's it.